right, everybody. Glad you're all back in my studio. Beautiful, beautiful day today. Hot, actually. Crazy weather. So what's it like in your area? Are you getting the warm, warm weather? It's like, feels like 31 today. Oh, sorry. Forgot to put my mic on. There. Hope that sounds better. I'm terrible for that. Let me just get rid of these notifications so I can see if anybody is chatting. So today we're going to do a cute little zombie. Why not? Let's see. Oh, I just want to lighten up a little bit here. There we go. It's a little better. And there is a traceable for this little guy, and it's on my YouTube membership for all levels or the Patreon. I also have a Patreon if you're interested there, and it'll be there for all levels also. I'm not sure if you've been watching on Shorts at all, but I have been listing all my paintings a day, acrylic paintings on little canvases that Lena, that's Miss Linux 2010, and I are doing a challenge together. And I think it's day 12 or 11. I think it's 11 for me, 12 for her. She posted hers before mine. But it's fun. I've been really enjoying it. So this is cute and creepy at the same time, I think. And I'm going to use a lot of ink, maybe some pencil crayon. I don't know. We'll see. I really do like putting either or both on after I do some watercolor. Hey, Dorothy, good to see you. How are you doing? So I've rubbed out a little bit of the graphite because I don't want it showing through too much, because after you start watercoloring, sometimes it's a little more difficult to get rid of the pencil marks. You can use a number of erasers. There's a few different ones out there. I prefer this is black 18. It's a latex rubber. I didn't put it on this page because the crow seeped through, but I will put something on there. Maybe a loose watercolor painting that I've got hanging around. Or I could use it for just documenting or writing something in there. So, do you guys like Halloween? I love it for the creatures and the monsters and stuff as far as art. I'm not a decorate the house type of Halloween person, but I do like drawing it or crafting or that type of thing. What about you guys? Do you like decorating, or is it more fine now? Thanks, fighting technology. Oh no! Was your computer acting up again? You have the worst luck for computers. You always have problems with them. I'm going to just spray my palette here. I might just have enough color on my palette already to play with this. So we're going to just make him kind of a ochre color, his face, because he's a zombie. We could do him a little on the green side too, but I'm just going to put a light coat on his face. And this is just wet into dry. And I'm just using my sketchbook here because that's what I like to practice in. I know there's a lot of watercolor people channels that frown on that, but I'm very frugal and I like a challenge, I must admit. So I don't mind doing it in a sketchbook. Phone, iPad mostly. There is computer man on the oh, good. Yeah, it's not too bad if you got someone helping you, but we'll add a little bit of shadow and stuff once this is dry. I'm just going to do all the skin tones in this one color to start, and then we'll put on some shadows, maybe a little bit of green, because he is falling apart after all. Little neck here. That'll be dark. Don't do Halloween, and it's not big here. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. All right, I'm going to mix up a little bit of, this is kind of a bluish purple color. I think that I'll keep that for his jean jacket. And kind of want an ochre, an odd shade. So I'm going to mix a little bit of this Quin Magenta, and maybe I just want it kind of dulled down. So let's put some of this grayish color in it. And this is going to be just around inside the sockets of his eyes. Just make it a little more gruesome. On the inside, we'll darken it. I just want a little bit of this in there. Just to the edge. Right there, like that. And I don't have to worry too much about it being straight because he is this kind of falling apart. So let's see. I'm going to get a paper towel to wipe my... Hey, Vol. Do you do an underpainting? I just started getting back into watercolor last night. Great to see you paint. Oh, thanks, Vol. Yeah, a lot of times I do an underpainting, usually the lightest color first, and then work my way to the darkest is typically what most people do. And then you can put a masking fluid on the real whites that you want to keep. But usually I don't stick to just watercolor. I like to get into the gouache or colored pencil on top too. Mixed media, I guess. All right. So we're going to give his hair a little bit of a boost. He's a punker. Let's do a little bit of this pyro red, and then we'll tone it down a little bit maybe. Let's add a little yellow to that, I think. Yeah, it's better. And I'm just going to put in, again, wet into dry, and base coat. I like these guys. I think they're cute. I do like the realistic looking monsters too. But I know there's a lot of you guys that are liking more of the cute type of thing. So I kept it calm. But I have done some monstrous type of, not necessarily watercolor, but pastel and colored pencil. They're fun to do. I've got to do one yet this year. I always do either a pumpkin head with a scary face or monster. I think I did Frankenstein one year. That turned out really cool with all the wrinkles. But we'll see. And then we've got this kind of a reddish, purplish color here. And I'm just going to put his jean jacket in this. Again, just an underpainting. I don't like to use too much layering with this sketchbook because it is a sketchbook. And it can start to pill the paper. So I tend to try and limit the amount of layers I do. I guess that's probably why I tend to get into the colored pencil afterwards for those detailed areas. And the nice thing about watercolor is you can always see your pattern underneath. And I don't mind that in sketchbooks. Some people don't like the line work, but I do. I think it's cool. And be a little darker in here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of a darker color in there. We'll let that dry. All right. And we'll give him, I think we'll give him a striped jacket, but with probably the same color as his hair. So let's give him kind of a dirty, colored t-shirt. Why not? He's a zombie. Not going to be all nice and clean. It's going to have dirt marks and stuff oozing. Can even dirty it up a little. Just dab a few areas. Let it dry. And his pants, I'm going to do kind of an umber color. So let's do yellow ochre for this one. So I'm going to just put it in this well over here. And I want it fairly light. I like going light to dark. So again, base coat. Make sure you have a nice tip on your brush. I like these silver black velvet. There are a few newer ones that coming out. Actually, I ordered some. It's called Lily Flower by Dynasty. Apparently, they're really good for watercolor. So I did order a few. I know I don't need any more brushes, but I did. I have a problem with collecting brushes. Now, I must pat myself on the back, though. I haven't gone crazy as far as expensive brushes like Kalinsky and that type of thing. I just can't afford to do that. But not that I wouldn't have liked to, but the pocketbook. It has the first say. All right. So I'm going to get some burnt umber here for his shoes, or his boots, work boots. And I'm going to put them all in the same color, and then we'll do a bunch of shadows and highlights. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of brown around his eyeball here, because it wouldn't be bright white. Be kind of dingy looking. And his mouth, I'm going to make darker. So I'm going to take some of this indigo, put it in there. Take a little more of that. So I want almost black. So indigo and your burnt umber will give you a nice dark. And let's put in his little smile here. Maybe a little bit thicker right there. He's falling apart, so we'll put the stitches in and stuff later. Yeah. My son was telling me about electric cars and what they're going to be capable of doing and all this stuff. And pretty soon you won't be able to, it'll drive itself. So with my imagination, it instantly started going, oh, well, then it's going to be a real downer for a bank robbery. They'll probably make them so that the car will know you robbed the bank and just lock the doors and take you right to the police station. Couldn't you see that happening? I could. I thought that was funny. You could make a whole movie on that, I think. You need to learn self-control, girl. Say pot calling. Yeah, I know. Dot. Let's do his little cavity nostril, or sinus. I don't know, what would you call that? And then his eyeball. His eyeball's going to be big, so the black around it is going to be fairly big. And then I'll put some highlights on it, but kind of dull highlights, because we don't want him bright-eyed, because he'd have he wouldn't be able to see properly, because he's not alive. So his eyes would be starting to glaze over like they do. That. Okay, we'll let that dry. And let's move to the ear here. So a little bit of shadows in there. Actually, I'm going to take my smaller brush. Something with a little bit of a nice point. And water on my brush. And just make some lines in here. Doesn't have to get crazy detailed, but I won't promise anything because you know me. Detail. Can't help myself. Neighbors over the road have an electric car. Oh, do they? I'm curious how you will do lines. I'm also afraid to get an electric car. Good old gas for me. I know. I like to control. I don't want someone all of a sudden saying, nope, you're not going there and take over my car. No. I like control. Who knows what they'll be able to do? I don't trust all these computers. How I'll do the lines. I like ink. I don't outline everything, but I do, well, kind of like what you do. Emphasize the shadowed areas, not do anything on the highlights, that type of thing. You can do as much or as little as you want. You're an expert at that, I would say. If you guys want to learn good inking and sketching, check out Vol. He's got a channel. Hey, Joan. Good to see you. I'm going to put a little bit of this burnt umber in my gold mix, just to darken it a little bit. And we'll put a little bit of shading in the side of the head here. Now you could go with green, or if you wanted to make them really yucky looking, gross, it's all drippy stuff coming off. You could do that. Dry brush into the skull. This is a little bit of a stiffer brush that I'm using, so you're able to get a little more control. Sometimes that's good. And I'm going to just go into the hairline a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot. Like that. His hair, or his side of his skull, would be a little bit darker. But around the eye sockets would be protruding out. And just wisp it in. side of your brush. It gives it a little bit of a softer grading. Got any questions? Bring this down to the chin area here. I'm going to make this ear a little bit darker. Let's see. Have this, that. And then just a few skull marks. The top or the tip of my brush, not too much, but a little bit. Here. And a little bit darker in here, I think, right there. So I'm just using that dark combination of kind of mixed for the eyeball. It's kind of like that. Bring it up in there. And maybe a little bit under there. I'm just going to soften it a little bit with my clean brush. I don't want a hard edge. And a little bit of this in his lip area. And a little bit under the eye here. Like that. Looks pretty good. That. All right, and his hands. A little bit of kind of the brown color, I think. A little more dirty looking. There'll be a shadow under his coat here. Coming down his finger. And then the inside of his hand will be darker. Like that. Same with this one here. A little bit of a shadow. You kind of have to be quick if you want to move it at all or soften edges, especially if you're working in this type of paper. But if you're working on a nice watercolor paper, you can have a little bit more time. All right, and then just a few marks. Not going to get too crazy detailed. It'll have more work with the line work in the pen for this part. And I think that's good for his body. And let's see. His pants, we can go into that burnt umber. A little bit, maybe a little bit of blue with that indigo, just to darken it, just a tad. And we'll put in some of the shadows. Well, we have a little bit of a shadow in here. I might darken it again yet into the crotch area. Sweep it. It's kind of shadowed as you go down the leg, the inside of the leg. If you want to soften the edges, you can. A lot of times wrinkles, some of them have softer edges, some of them don't. This is a illustration, so it's whatever I want. So he'll have lots of wrinkles in his pants. Maybe a little darker around here. Okay, I'll let that dry a bit. And you can take the same mix, that umber, and do his shoes. So his shoes would have a little bit of shadow right on the bottom. And I'll be doing some line work too on this, so maybe around the very back of the boot. Have a shadow, and along the pant leg would be shadowed. And in here. A bunch of notifications. There. Quite a spooky. Yeah. He's still cute. I think he's cute. Okay, let's do some orangey color for its stripes. And then we'll shade them in. There we go. A bit dark around the edges. It's a little easier if you put that on when it's wet, and it just bleeds outward. It gives you the shadowed look without having to go back and soften. And one on the bottom. that. And a little bit of this darker just along the side here. Oh, it's wet. Maybe a little darker, maybe. You can decide how detailed you want to get. And then we can mix that blue. Let's put a little bit of indigo in there, make it darker. So on the edge here, this coat. And this is the collar. Be a little bit darker in there. Zipper or buttons, whatever you want to have on his coat there. Be darker. A little bit of wrinkles in there. Maybe we'll put some wrinkles in the right. Dark. Just along the edge. Under his massive head. That's what I like about these. So you can exaggerate the proportions so much. It's fun. A bit darker under the sleeve area. And some wrinkles. Depends how, crazy detailed you want to. It's going to be a little darker along the side there, but I'll wait till that dries. And then I'm going to put, let's put a little bit of this mix of all kinds of colors. I'm going to put that down there along his jacket and pants, just to dirty up his shirt. So I think it should be a little more dirty looking. It's too clean. Nice and dark in there. Just dabbing. Cute. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make his neck kind of the orangey color, but I'm going to dirty it up by making a shadow color with a bit of that black. But I want that kind of orange color to show through. Just add. Just have to remember a lot of your watercolor paint dries lighter, so you may have to go back and put in a little bit more. All right, yeah, he's looking pretty good. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's put a little bit of that orange again. So I'm going to make that orange up again. But this time I want it a little bit of this blue purple in it. I want a little darker. And we'll just flick some of this on the side of the head. So he'll have the darker areas in there. Basically along the scalp line. Put those in. And we can also add a little bit colored pencil or gouache after. Let's do a little bit of that blue. And yeah, let's do a little blue number again. I'm just going to make it really, really dark in some of this area here. While this is still wet, I'm just going to dab along the hairline, because that would be the darkest area. And we'll see how that dries up. You can always tease it up a little bit with your brush. Soften those edges if you want. There. He's looking cool. I like him. I think I'm going to make the eyes darker. So let's get a really thick mix here. And he will have a shine on them. But I want them dark. Hold my breath. Oh, I do like these brushes though. Got these a while back, but I haven't really used them much. You get used to using certain brushes and you don't tend to cut the other ones. This is it's got a nice point, and it's very, very spring back, so it's not soft. This is an Escoda Charonas. No. It's a number 6, but look at the point on that. It's a beautiful point. And he'd have dark in the nasal cavity. Let's put that in. Like that. I'm going to put a little bit in here, just on the very edge, in the middle of the hand there. And maybe underneath his shoe. Like that. Cute. All right. So we could put the cracks in his head. Yep. He's got cracks in his head. And let's try this awesome point, because you can vary the width. So you'd have thick and thin lines depending on how the cracks are spreading. That. And you have a few in here along his eyeball cavity. It is falling apart. Okay. And a little darker right there. And I'm going to put a little bit of this dark mix on his, just under here. Soften it a little bit. But it's dark in here. Right under his chin. And kind of in where the collar spreads open. That would be dark. A little bit more maybe in there. One side. You can just dot it if it's still wet. It'll just seep. It kind of gives it a nice effect then. We'll let that seep. Maybe a little bit more down here. See how it dries lighter? So sometimes you have to go back and reinforce that a little bit more. In here in the sleeve, that could be reinforced. A lot of darks in there. Right in here, under the collar maybe. More there. It's fun. I like playing with it. I gotta fix his little pocket. It's not showing up, so. We'll put some line work on there. That should work. Oh, darn ads keep coming up. Yeah, he's looking pretty nasty. Yeah. I'm just gonna put a little bit of the detail in some of the boot area here. We can also put a lot of pen work in there. I'm going to put a little bit down the side of his hand. Like that. You have brought him to life. He's risen. He's funny. We got to have slime, right? Let's do green. It's got to have slime coming off of him. Let's do this kind of slimy stuff on his fingers. Can't do too much detail on that, but it's fun. And then we got some slime coming off of his face too. Maybe he's drooling. All right, let's give that a dry. These are really fun one to do if you're looking for something to paint or even color. You could use your pencil crayons too. All right, let's see now. Well, let's use Indian ink brown. And I'm going to use a dip pen this time. I want to get used to using my dip pen. And I've got a real small nib. I think I got this Speedball cartooning nib or something. Sometimes you have to work them a little bit. All right. So let's work Let's do around his eyeballs. So he would have shadowed areas. I'm just playing. Maybe a little darker in there. Darker on the bottom, maybe. Add a little bit more. Then we can make these a little more detailed, the little cracks in his eye sockets. You can go over your paint lines. He has big cracks or small cracks. You can make it however you want. You can even make really soft hairline cracks too. Just be very, very light. What else? Really dark in here. Just want it kind of textured, I guess. Because it would be, I want it rough looking. Inside is eyeball cavities. And then some real dark areas in his ear here. His chin. Dark. darker along the side of his head. And then his mouth, of course. Quite dark. And we got to put the little stitches in here. Now you can get as detailed as you want in this area. We'll just put a little bit in here. Just in the very darkest areas of his coat. I could have used probably a blue or, but this will do. I wouldn't like to meet him on a dark night. He might be a nice guy, you never know. I'm not the greatest at pen work, but I like learning. And you can't learn unless you do it. Let's give him some decaying areas here. He's got I'll put marks on there. And we can also let's do his pants here. Fairly dark under his t-shirt. And I might get a colored pencil out. Let's see. His boot area. Be more defined. Like that. And not used to the dip pen. It's a little different for me. So I'm used to the micro liners. it's fun. Fun to try new stuff. Got the boot all crazy. I'll just do the inside of the leg here. He's fun. I think he looks pretty cool. Let's do a little in his hair on the base of the right in there. Like that. Yeah, I like them. Could always add a lot of detail. Depends how much you want to put in. Just add a few. Few along here. Just in the top area. Put a few. I don't want to go too far on the top part because that would be highlighted a little bit. But yeah, it's cute. I like them. I think he's okay. Let's put those little marks on his face. So start off small, press down, release. So it's that impression of sharpness in some of them. I like them. Okay. I want to put a little highlight on them. Just rinsing my nib off. I would like, so I think I'm going to use a white pencil crayon. Maybe a gray. A light gray, possibly. Let's try this. So this is a 10% warm gray. And we'll give them a highlight. So we'll start off with the gray, and then we'll switch. Like that, and then white. Yeah. Right in the center here would be a bit lighter. Like that. And then we'll put a little bit of a dot in the area. I'm going to put a few little like that. Maybe we'll highlight a bit around the eyeball here and there. That. And then a Posca, white Posca, or you can use gouache, whatever you have. And a little highlight right about there. I'm just going to dab it with my finger afterwards. I don't want it too prevalent. That looks pretty good. And then let's see. Let's put in a few highlights. So be a little bit of a highlight on his rim of his coat here, collar. And maybe down a little bit along the edge. And then you can take and highlight some of these areas. Now it's not going to show that much because it's got the color very similar. But sometimes it just helps. Just shows that. A little bit of a shine on his boot. Right there on his toe. Doesn't show a lot, but and maybe on the top of his whole skull in here just a little bit. I think that's pretty. Oh, I was gonna give him some. Maybe it'll be green. Yeah, let's do green in here. We could highlight some of those drops. A little bit of sparkle. So you notice it a little bit more. They won't be that noticeable, but it's fun. Forgot to put his fingernails in. Put his little thumb in here. Maybe he's got, now let's put his wrinkles and his fingers here. Maybe he's got, oh, I'll do those in pencil. Old age spots. Put its decayed spots in his skin on his hands. Little marks. Let's see, where did I put my? Oh, there it is. So put some marks on his hands here, so he doesn't look so perfect. I'm gonna make this a little darker. You can go back in after you use. If you feel that you have to darken some areas, go ahead. That's how you learn. A little bit of a brighter area in there, maybe. Darker. I didn't give him the whites of his eye, really. But I think he's cute. I'm going to put, let's put a little bit of white on his, just here and there. Maybe you'll have a little bit of highlight. I don't have to put a lot. I'm going to put, oh yeah, I was going to do his pocket, but I think I'll do it. Oh, I'm not going to, let's just get a micron. Just put this in. Nice and ribbing here. His coat sleeves. Like I said, you can get as detailed as you want. Could actually do stitching along the bottom here. I think he's done. I didn't get too carried away with his boots, but I'll have to practice a little more with those. But there he is. I had to walk away for a bit, and wow. You like him, Dot? I think he's cute. I like him. Let's put a little shadow underneath the slime dots. I like him. I think he's fun. You like him? I think he's cute. He would make a good card, I think. So if you want to try it, there is a traceable for this one in the memberships on Patreon and here on YouTube. It's for everybody that's a member, so you can download it and use it. All right, well, I'll let you guys go and have some fun with this. We'll see you on Thursday. I think I'm probably going to be doing one of my paint a day on Tuesday for you. Show you how I go about painting it. Don't know what one I'm going to do yet, but we'll see. All right, so you all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye for now.